You're listening to the AfterBuzz TV network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Keith. Johnson.
From Los Angeles, California, and Maria Menounos, and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies, this is AfterBuzz TV Spotlight On. Spotlight On is a long-form interview series featuring actors and TV personalities. And now, from the world's #1 TV after-show platform, this is AfterBuzz TV Spotlight On.
Hello, AfterBuzzers. My name is Jillian Leff, and I'm here today bringing you Spotlight On with a very special guest. Some of you may know him as John Darling, aka Glasses from Once Upon a Time, or Jace from ABC Family's Switched at Birth. Everyone, please welcome to the studio, Matt Kane.
Hello.
How you doing today?
Very well. It's great to be here.
So this is going to be a lovely, relaxed conversation.
Good. I'm looking forward to it.
So first I want to talk about Once Upon a Time because I know that a lot of the fans were tweeting me today specifically about your character and just how obsessed they are with your character. So I kind of wanted to know if you knew the fairy tale of Peter Pan before the show.
I did, absolutely. I loved Peter Pan. Yeah, I had a big VHS collection of Disney films that I used to watch when I was young, and one of my favorites was Peter Pan.
Now, did you think that one of your favorite fairy tales would take such a dark turn on a show?
I guess not. I mean, yeah, they're very creative with what they do. So I had no idea that they were going to do that. I didn't know that Peter Pan could be such an awful person, really, in so many ways. But yeah, no, I didn't see that coming.
So can you talk to me about the days that you were on set? You know, who were kind of the castmates that you sort of got along with the best?
Yeah, I mean, I got on very well with James, who played my brother. And I think that we were on the same flight going out to Vancouver when we were shooting. I didn't know who was going to be playing my brother. And of course, I was really hoping that we would really get on. So we saw each other on the flight and then got to the hotel, and I think we clocked each other in the airport as well. There was something when we were getting our like Canadian work visas, we like saw each other in the line and we kind of gave each other a look like, oh, this is taking such a long time, and I just obviously I had no idea who he was, but and he didn't know who I was, but we saw each other at the hotel, and he was like, you know, checking in at the same time as me. He was like, oh, Glasses, right? And I was like, yeah.
Like you could be my brother.
Yeah. So I was like, oh, okay, great, perfect.
The fans love it because they sort of, I was searching on Tumblr today, and they sort of have like a bromance thing going on between you two. I
think that we're a little bit responsible for that because we started like hashtagging bromance after a lot of the tweets between each other and about the show, and when we're talking about the Darlings, and it kind of took on. So yeah, I feel slightly responsible. I'm proud of it. I like it.
So how has the fan response been? Because Once Upon a Time is such a huge show. The Oncers are, you know, all over all types of social media. So when your first episode came out, you know, what was the response?
It was a wonderful response. I mean, it's weird. Once Upon a Time was a show when I first came to LA. I would see billboards and posters, and it's such a big TV and film town, so you see so much going on to do with the industry. And one of the posters I saw was Once Upon a Time. I've always loved Robert Carlyle, like so many Trainspotting, like so many films. But I saw him, and I saw the way that show looked, and I kind of saw it and wondered maybe if I'll be working on something like that eventually in LA. I didn't know. It was just kind of a, you know, like a passing thought when I was looking at all the different things. So it's something that stood out to me. Yeah, being on it was kind of exciting. It was something special about it, actually. And the response was, everyone was very kind.
Can you take me through, you know, when you auditioned to when you actually booked it, sort of what you were feeling during that time?
Yeah. Well, this particular audition process was very quick. It was like I was in Canada, I was in Toronto, and then I flew back to LA. I was here for like 2 days. I got the audition through for once. I didn't know exactly who the character was going to be at this point. It was just called Glasses, so I knew I had to wear glasses for the audition. The scenes were it was hard to read into. It didn't really give anything away. But I went and did a read with the casting director in the room, and then I'm trying to remember if it was that afternoon, like literally a couple hours after I left, or the next afternoon, that they, you know, my manager rang and asked me how it went. And I'm pretty honest with him at this point. Like, if I'm not that happy with something, I'll say, you know, I feel like I could have done something a bit different, or I'm not hugely pleased with what I did. So actually, I said that. I was like, I'm not actually sure with what I did in that one. I mean, it was fine, but like, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. And then he was like, "Oh, okay. Well, you booked it." So, and I was like, "Oh, okay. Weird." Like,
well, then I did great.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. It's very strange. Like, it's so hard to read that, to read how you come across and what people think of you. But yeah, I mean, it didn't really hit home until we started shooting, until I kind of really got to know how big the fan base is, and the scale of the show. I mean, it's such massive. It's huge. Like the way they shoot on these huge, you know, in the studios they have massive sets, and like a real like pirate ship, like a life-size ship, and like just everything's kind of mind-blowing. Yeah, the stuff they have around you. Yeah, it's pretty cool. I
can't even believe it.
Yeah.
I think that, you know, my reaction would be stunned, because again, like, you're in LA, you see all of these posters, and you really haven't heard of the show, but it's sort of everywhere.
Yeah.
Lucked out.
Absolutely. It was, yeah, it's very strange. I feel very fortunate to be part of it. Yeah.
Amazing. So your character was kind of like a hipster twist to John Darling, because I don't know, from the fairy tale that I remember, he was mostly in a nightgown for the entire fairy tale.
And a top hat, actually.
A top hat, yes, a top hat. Yeah. So was his styling similar to your personal style?
In ways, I think that, yeah, it takes a lot of effort. It took a lot of effort to get dressed for that show, in that there were so many layers and there was so much going on, and I love that. I think it was so much fun. And I mean, the costume department on that show are incredible. They really are. I think they've won a ton of awards, and they're just really, they know what they're doing. And I suppose I did dress a little bit like that when I went in to read for it. And then when I went to try on the clothes they had, I think it just kind of, they had fun, I think, dressing us up and really just kind of putting a hipster twist on it. And the glasses process was really fun. We had there was 15 to 20 pairs of glasses, and we were trying on loads of them, and, you know, taking photographs of all of them and showing them to Adam and Eddie, the creators, and like just kind of getting feedback and figuring out, and also asking what I was interested in. And there were actually so many of them, of the glasses were round, and John's glasses in Peter Pan in the animation, and most of the times you see him depicted, they're round glasses. So most of the glasses were in fact round, but the square ones that we ended up going with, just kind of, we all like them. Like, they're so cool, actually. They're really... I
mean, they look like you wear them all the time.
Well, thank you. That's
You're
kind of you.
Welcome. So I have to ask this because fans were asking me all day on Twitter. Do you think that there's a possibility that you would come back to the show, whether it be in that role or a different role?
There's always a possibility. It's hard to say. I think that they can do whatever they want with those storylines, and they're so complex, and there are so many characters. I mean, Disney, like, there's a repertoire of amazing, like the amount of people that they can play with, and to be kind of established as John Darling in that show now is a really wonderful thing, because there's always that possibility. You know, they can always reopen a storyline, or kind of they introduce something, you know, I don't know, in the past, in a flashback, you know, where John and Michael were quite heavily involved in what Pan was doing. So yeah, I mean, that opportunity is always there.
So you essentially played Pan's henchman.
Yeah.
Right?
Kind of, yeah.
So how was it doing his dirty work? Because you were doing it with good intentions.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun to play a bad guy. I don't often, actually, I suppose I do play people with like an edge. I guess I have done a couple of times, but yeah, it was fun to really like play up the villain thing and to have a gun. That was a lot of fun. So me and James both having our guns, we felt, you know, on top of the world. It was amazing. So yeah, we did all we could to be as sinister as possible. I don't know if we're the most sinister looking people though, so that was kind of difficult, but we, you know, it was awesome for a minute, until you realise that obviously we're actually doing good, and actually that's better deep down. That's kind of nice that, you know.
the surprise with the audience.
Yeah, exactly.
It's great.
Yeah.
So I want to transition from Once to Switched at Birth. The last Spotlight On interview I did was with Katie LeClaire.
Yeah.
And I know that you worked heavily with her. You were sort of her love interest, her summer fling on the show.
Right.
So I was watching a few of the episodes that you were in, and I noticed how quickly you picked up sign language. So what was that process like for you to learn? Because did you know it beforehand?
No, I didn't know anything. I didn't know anything. I couldn't do the alphabet. I know some people here, like some of my friends can do the alphabet, and I just couldn't do anything. I sort of always was aware, of course, of sign language, but I didn't know that I was going to be signing really, like as heavily as I ended up signing for the show. In the audition process, there was a little bit, they alluded to that a little bit, that I would sign to kind of impress Katie's character. But yeah, it came on very heavily, like quickly. I think after the first episode where I say, you know, I'm gonna learn to sign in a month, I think.
Right.
And I didn't have a month, I had like a week to learn. So like it went from saying that to working intensively with Jack, Jason, the sign coach, like the sign master on the show, who's just so wonderful. He's such an amazing teacher. So I think he's really the reason I was able to, you know, to pick it up. And we worked really hard. Like it wasn't easy, but we could focus specifically on the scenes that were, you know, it wasn't like I had to learn everything. I just had to learn what was in the scenes, and then eventually it just got easier because I would remember, oh, that, you know, that's that, and that, you know, and then I would know what the signs were for various scenes. So I'd come back and I'd try and impress Jack, like by like the third or fourth episode, I'd be like, oh yeah, so I worked out actually like in this scene, so I'd be doing this, and I like do all the signs that, you know, that I would remember, and he'd be like, that's great, really good memory. And you know, it just kind of developed. But yeah, I had to learn quite fast.
Did you mentally store any of it, or as soon as the show wrapped you were like, woo, forget everything?
I definitely stored some of it, and I try to remember it. Like, that's try, and like I try.
What is try?
Try. I really hope I got that right. If I didn't, that is horrendous, and I'm so sorry, but I think that's try. Yeah, I bumped into someone else who worked on the show the other day, and she's like a secondary sign consultant on the show. So, and she was sat with a bunch of people, and they were discussing a short film, and they were all signing. Some of them were deaf, some of them were hearing, and they were all talking in sign though to kind of figure out the show. And they started signing to me because they were like, "Oh, from the show, oh great, yeah!" And they started signing at me really quickly.
And you were like,
"Yeah," I was like, I'm so sorry, like I can't remember, but yeah, I do store some of it, and I don't want to forget it. I really do actually want to try, and with Jack as well. We got plans to meet at some point soon, and I think when we go have lunch or something, I really want to try and just sign with him the whole time, or as much as I can, and just like keep it in my head.
That's amazing.
'Cause it's a wonderful skill. It's something I totally didn't expect.
So you were also a barista on the show. So did you have to learn any of those skills?
Oh my god, I am the clumsiest person in the world. I'm the clumsiest person in the world.
So those were the hardest scenes?
So difficult. Signing's well, for me, I would spill coffee way quicker than I would, you know, learn the alphabet. Whatever. You know what I mean? I'm terrible with drinks and with anything. So yeah, picking me as a barista was kind of a long shot, but I made it work. I think I pretended well.
Right.
Yeah.
You kind of displayed your own sort of worldly charm onto Daphne.
I guess so.
So what are some of the things you think you taught her? Because she sort of tried to teach you how to swim. She, you know, you learned how to sign for her. So what do you think that you taught her? Besides geocaching.
Yeah, geocaching. I would actually love to do some geocaching. Actually, I have. I've done a bit of geocaching, a tiny bit. Yeah, before I did the show. For
the viewers, what exactly is geocaching? Because I know what it is.
Geocaching is it's a form of, it's like a treasure hunt, like a long form of treasure hunt. Like you can look at this network, I guess, online, and there's lots of forums where people will bury boxes with like little toys or trinkets or notes or like cool things. Wherever, like all over the world actually. There's just so many of them now, and you can find the coordinates on a map of where they are, and you can travel to them, and you know, leave a trinket, take a trinket, like write something down, and you can do that all over the place. Like it's a huge thing. So I think it's a lot of fun, and it was kind of cool that I could pretend that I was an experienced geocacher.
Yeah. So besides that, what else do you think you taught her?
I think in the show, Daphne often learns to be wary of certain guys. Like she gets gets caught up in relationships, and then it seems all wonderful, but I think it's important to know that, you know, that people have flaws. And Jace probably ultimately felt like he was right the whole time. He thought that what he was doing was right, and he thought that it was important, and that someone who was, you know, a hypocrite and kind of creepy and just like, you know, the Chip Koto, like the senator who was you know, sleeping with an intern, that's something that he just couldn't stand for. And I think he never, like I said, he never really felt like he was getting her into anything that was wrong, you know. But that was an important lesson for her character, I think, to see that the passion that someone can have in their beliefs, but to also just be aware that if you push it too far, you know, it gets a bit unethical and tricky when you know, when Jace kind of does push it too far. Right. Yeah, it was really interesting, actually. It was a really interesting kind of journey to take.
I mean, your whole storyline, I just, you know, you reached an ultimate end, obviously.
Yeah.
But before we talk about that, I want to talk about your first kiss in the pool, which was so steamy, Matt. Oh my goodness. So I want to know what your first on-camera kiss was like, because I don't think that was your first on-camera kiss. No,
that wasn't my first. You mean first ever?
First on-camera kiss ever.
First on-camera ever. It was in England. I did a show called The Cut. It was a BBC show that I did for a couple of years, and my character, I think like within the first week of shooting, I had to kiss 2 different girls and like make it look like I was super cool and like really easy with that, and just like it was second nature. But no, it's very nerve-wracking and strange to have to do that and to make it look natural. But I think like anything in acting, you just kind of, you pick that up as part of your repertoire, as part of what you can just kind of do and make seem comfortable, like anything else, you know, in a scene. So but no, initially I was kind of nervous about it and awkward, very much awkward about it, and it was important to kind of say, okay, so I'm going to put my hands on your shoulders, and then, you know, you plan everything. It wasn't natural in the slightest. It was very much like, okay, so, and then we're going to touch like this, and kiss 3 seconds for, like, you know, it was like a very...
All right, sounds good.
Yeah, it was very like, we planned it out, and actually that maybe made it easier. It probably didn't look as good initially, but it made it easier.
I know that Katie's a doll because I've met her, but did you have the opportunity to meet her before you sort of, you know, were you tested together, or it was just they brought you in?
No, we weren't tested. So I read for the role, and I actually read in American, in like an American accent, and then...
Can you do your American accent while you're telling me this? Or and just maybe say...
I'll try. Okay. So I did the first audition in my American, and then I went, and she said to me in the room, the casting director, she said, can you do it in British as well? Because I'd met her before for a different role in the show like a year ago.
Okay, you can be British again.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I was like, when are you going to save me from that? I have to do it all the time, but it's funny when you're put on the spot. No. Thank you.
Tell me the rest, please.
Yeah, no, so I did it in an American accent, then I was asked to do it in British accent, and I got a call back just to meet Lizzie, the producer, and other producers, and just kind of, you know, do the same scenes I'd done before, but it wasn't with Katie, it was just me doing the same scenes, or maybe there was like one extra. And that was it. After that, I had the role. But I didn't know where it was going to go. I knew vaguely that it was going to be probably a story that was oriented around a love interest with Katie's character, but I didn't know for sure. But after I got the role, I think quite soon after that, I went up to where they shoot in Santa Clarita, and I met Katie. I think on like the first day I was there, like doing hair and makeup tests and wardrobe tests and things like that. And they were lovely, like immediately. Seriously, everyone is so nice on that show, and so welcoming. So I think they actually said to me, like Katie and Vanessa were like, oh, I don't know who you're for. Which one are you for? I don't know what you're going to be. Like, they don't know, because I don't know if they knew at that point, like, which boy, you know, was going to be for which character. But I kind of knew, and I was like, I don't know. I just kind of played it dumb, like I wasn't really sure what was going on. But yeah, no, I got to know them all very well. They're lovely.
So at the end of your storyline on the show, you were sort of carted off and left open-ended per se.
Yeah, kind of.
So do you think that Jace might make a return? I mean, Katie's love circle is ever changing.
It is ever
She's
changing.
like in love with RJ Mitty now from
Yep.
Breaking Bad,
Yeah.
and you know, we never know what's going to happen. Do you think that Jace will scoot his way back in?
He could do. I mean, I don't know on what terms he left with immigration. You know,
I was gonna say,
he's. I don't know. Like, I'm a dual citizen. I'm like Matt. I'm a dual citizen. Jace, I don't know whether he is or not. And if he's not, obviously it can be quite difficult to get
Right.
back into the country. Is if he's bribed a senator, like that's kind of a big deal.
Trouble.
Yeah, kind of trouble.
I mean, I think the fans are really hoping that you do come back, though.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, it's like I said with Once as well. It's always open ended. Like, there's no. You can never say never. A bit of a Peter Pan reference, but
You
like,
heard it first, fans. Never say never.
Yeah.
He's keeping you hanging. So I want to transition from sort of the television work that you've done to your journey and how you sort of got here. So when was the first moment that you knew you wanted to act?
That I loved pretending and playing and just kind of being silly when I was a kid, and I kind of just enjoyed. I suppose that was acting in a way. That's what acting is in a sense. Like, I was doing that when I was really young, and I guess when I was 9 years old, I asked my parents. My mum was an opera singer. She had singing students as well. She used to teach singing, and some of those students would go to drama classes. My brother also went to drama classes locally. My dad's a theatre actor, so it was kind of around me, and I grew up sort of seeing it and just kind of being aware of it. And I asked, when I was 9, I asked my mum if one of her students could maybe recommend me or suggest or get me an audition actually at one of these drama class.
Bold.
Yeah, these classes in the city in Bristol. I'm from Bristol, southwest England. So I went and auditioned for that, you know, for ITV Workshop it was called, and I got a place, and then I just started going to classes. Actually, like a week after I got a place at the workshop, I was asked to audition for a TV show for a Channel 4, like this you know, Channel 4 is one of the terrestrial networks on TV in England, and I was asked to audition to play Henry VIII's son, Edward VI, as a 9-year-old, having no idea what I was doing. So I went, I think, with my mum to the audition probably like a week later, just very oblivious, like kind of met them. I don't really remember what happened, but I didn't have to act. I think I just went to go meet them.
Right.
And my cheeks were certainly chubbier, so I could play Henry's son believably. And yeah, I got that part. So then I ended up being on set when I was 9 for a couple of weeks doing a couple episodes of this show. And I was just staring in the camera, like I didn't know what I was doing. I was just kind of like, it was like a docudrama. So there was like factual stuff, and then they would dramatize some of Henry VIII's life and his family. So I spent a lot of time just kind of being unsure of what I was doing, but just kind of taking it all in and wearing obviously ridiculous, amazing like royal clothing.
But what an amazing boot camp. I mean,
I
like,
guess
come
so,
on,
yeah.
you're literally thrown to the wolves.
Yeah, true.
And you did it.
I guess so. I did it. I mean, yeah, it was fun. And I think after that, you know, I just continued going to the workshop, and I loved it so much. It was like my favorite time of the week was to go to that, and it was really like the very foundations, the building blocks that led to me taking it seriously and wanting to pursue it, because we worked a lot with cameras in the workshop. It was a television oriented workshop, so we would you know, we'd film scenes that we were working on and then watch them back and look at what we did. And we did this from like the age of 9, you know, so every week you're working with cameras and you're talking about your performance and things that you can change and alter, and working with scripts. And it really, like, that whole process is just like it was invaluable. It was just amazing.
So is this why British TV is so good?
Maybe, yeah, maybe. I mean,
because I'm a fan of Luther. Like, I love Luther.
You know, I really want to watch Luther. I've heard so many times that it's amazing, and I've never seen it, but I really.
Idris Elba.
Yeah,
Whoa.
yeah, I love Idris Elba.
Oh my
is
gosh.
it amazing? Yeah,
he terrifies me.
Yeah.
And it's thrilling, and it's so real. I had to stop watching it because I got so nervous that these situations could happen to me. You need to watch it.
Oh my god,
sir.
yeah, I'm gonna.
Get on the
I will.
BBC, all right?
Absolutely,
And Doctor Who.
Doctor Who, of course.
You know,
classic,
major fandom.
Every Christmas. Every Christmas there's a big special in England and everyone watches it.
So, when did you get the job at The Cut, the drama?
So I was auditioning for like drama schools in England when I was 17, I guess. So I was auditioning for them, and I kind of decided I'd done a little bit of TV work here and there in England, and then a lot of short films and just theatre and whatnot. And then I had an agent who was putting me out occasionally for things and just kind of seeing, what was around. But I wasn't. I mean, I was hoping I would get work, but obviously I was thinking, I'll go to drama school, I'll spend 3 years there, and I'll see what happens after that. But The Cut was just one of those auditions, and I went in, and it was actually for I think it was a 4-part online, 10-minute segments of story, and that was all it was going to be at the start. So I auditioned for that, and it was awesome. I got it, and it was very exciting. I actually left a school exam for the callback, for the producer's session thing. I went and read at some point, and then maybe 6 months later, seriously, a long time later after that, I got a phone call from my agent at the time saying, you need to go to London, they want you to meet the producer and the writer and to talk about it, and they're really interested in you for this character. I was like, oh, really just couldn't remember. I was like, what was that for? I couldn't remember it. But then I went up to London, and my art teacher at the time, we were in the middle of this fine art exam, so I was painting, and you do these long exams, the GCSEs in England, where you spend hours. I can't remember. It's 2 days. It's a 15-hour exam or a 10-hour exam or something. Maybe 10. You do just 2 solid days of work. And then in the middle of that, she just let me go. She was like, well, it sounds like you have to go. So you're an opportunity. You have to take it. So she
really believed in you.
Cool. Yeah, so cool. And so just, I think a lot of people at my school were supportive of that, because I was going to auditions and stuff. And they understood, and they were just, some obviously were better than others about that and more flexible, but she was just so cool and so happy for me to do that. So yeah, I went when I was 17, and I met the creator of the show and the executive producer, the director, everyone, and it was just a very long sort of talk, and then I did some work with them, and then they kind of almost offered it to me in the room, actually. It was really cool.
So if you could compare it to maybe a Canadian show or an American show, have you ever seen Degrassi?
Yeah.
Is it kind of like that?
Kind of, yeah.
It's teen drama?
Yeah, exactly. It's been compared to Degrassi before.
Okay.
And, it's kind of it's a teen drama, like Gossip Girl, or it's got elements of a ton of different things, and it's kind of like Skins. People were saying it's the BBC's answer to Skins. Skins was a Channel 4 production, and the BBC hadn't had a teen drama like that. So that was what they were trying to do. It was their kind of answer to Skins, a slightly less racy, but it was because it was with BBC. They had to be a bit more careful. Right. But that was, it was a teen drama, and it went on for a while. Yeah. I was working on it for a couple of years, and did I think there were in total something around 40 episodes in total. And in England, that's a lot. Over in the States, shows can run for a very long time, and they have huge seasons are commissioned, and that's the way it works here. In England, it's less often that's the case. They make maybe they'll make 5 or 6 or something, and then they might do another 6, and they're a lot more careful about it. I don't know all the reasons why, but The Cut was kind of rare in the sense that they budgeted so that they could just spread it out, and we had I did 32 of the 40 episodes, I think, and we shot in a very it was like an indie film. The whole thing was like an indie film in the coolest way. I love indie film, and I love working on indie films, and it was so cool. The director Sarah Walker was kind of the head of that initially, heading that kind of style of shooting, and it was all very on the fly and kind of guerrilla sometimes, and it was so awesome that the BBC let us do that. Right. So it felt like something special we were all part of, and then it just kept going. It was just oh, we're going to do more, and it kind of developed. Like I said, it started like a 4-part online thing, and then it expanded to a 2-year TV thing. It was on BBC Two on Saturdays, and just kind of grew. So was that show what made you transition and move here? No, not exactly. I think I always knew that I would like to move here at some point, or try it out here to see what was around, because I'm a dual citizen, so it was always something I knew would be on the table eventually. But after I did that show, I stayed in London. I just continued auditioning, and I was just very much in the thick of that. I was really just making a go of it in London. And then The Cut. You're right in saying that it would be the reason I'm here in some ways, because my current manager here, Peter, is just a wonderful person. He saw The Cut and got in touch with my British agent at the time and said, I've seen Matt on the show. Is he potentially interested in working here? And then Mark, my old agent, said you know, he's a citizen as well. So people were like, oh great, okay, I'll start sending scripts. So then Peter would send these scripts, and like one of the first scripts I got was The Hunger Games.
Okay.
So I was auditioning for that from England. I had no idea what it was at the time. I was just like, oh, some American project, okay. I did a self-tape for it.
Can you tell us what part you auditioned for?
Peter.
Okay.
And I did like a few tapes for them. I think I did one, and then I think they liked it, but my accent wasn't very good. So they said, like, can you try again, but just fix your accent, like, we liked it, but make sure you sound American properly. Right. So I did it again, and they're like, okay, cool, and they gave me more notes. So I think I did like 3 tapes for the Hunger Games. But at the time, like, I really didn't know what it was. I knew it was a film. I just didn't know, you know, obviously how big it was going to be. But you know, it was scripts like that. Like, it was really, you know, big films and TV shows and all this stuff over here that I was so unaware of. That Peter was just kind of sending to me. And then I think it gained a bit of momentum, like the tapes I was sending from the UK before coming out here. I guess some people like them, you know. So when I came out, I did a film in South Africa for a couple months, the Dinosaur Project, like a dino movie. It was fun. But I came right away after that to see some family. I've got a lot of family in California. Okay. And I met with Peter, with my manager, and he said, just stay for a couple of weeks extra, and we'll put some meetings, you know, and we'll just kind of see what happens. And I just, you know, I took his advice and went for it. And I just thought, you know, right now there's an opportunity to try it out. So I did. And I was incredibly busy. Like, there were 2 weeks of just like 3 meetings a day with all the studios and all the casting directors, like all these wonderful casting directors, and like a bubble just flew out of my mouth. Very weird. Yeah, like it's magic. Yeah, so I just met all these people, and it was like a whirlwind of activity, and I couldn't believe it. And then I went back to England after 2 weeks and just being like, oh my god, it was such a blur. Like, I didn't know, like, I was at all these, you know, like Warner Brothers and like all the
like
big
what's gonna come of it.
Yeah, I was like, what was that about? Like, that was very surreal and exciting. I don't know where it will lead though. And then I went back, and my girlfriend said to me, you have to go back, like, you have to just try this, like, there's a lot going on there.
Well, what a good girlfriend.
I mean, so cool. I mean, yeah, to encourage me to leave and to try it out here.
Now is she amazing. Here now?
Yeah.
Okay.
She's
so
here.
See?
Yeah, I know it.
All is well that ends well.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, and it wasn't. If it wasn't for her, we wouldn't be, I don't think. So yeah, but I came back and I tried it, and I just enjoyed it, and I met some people, and then I think momentum just kind of picked up, and yeah, so started happening. You've
done TV, film, live theater. What's your favorite? If you could pick one. I know it's probably hard, but what do you like more than the other?
I really love all of them for very different reasons, truly. But I've had a couple experiences on film sets that have just been have really like hit something inside me. Right. Like they've really kind of gripped me. And I have to say that working on those films, one in particular, it made me feel so much, and it fulfilled me in such an amazing way as a person and as an actor, and just in every sense. And I think that would it happen to be Stay Then Go? It is indeed. Yeah. Okay. So Stay Then Go. That was my next thing, because you do play an autistic teen. So how did you sort of research that? Because it is something that can either be portrayed the right way or totally the wrong way. Yeah. Well, Shelley, the director, writer, the mind behind all of it, she wrote the script, I think, the first draft maybe like 10 years ago, a long time ago, and the script she was just developing for the longest time. And her son has autism, yes. Dietrich, and her experience with Dietrich, I think, fueled a lot of her ability to tell the story in Stay Then Go. So it's entirely down to her, the way she directed me, and kind of I just trusted her notes and what she had to tell me, and the way that she directed me, it was unlike any other way I've been directed. It was just following her. It was taking her lead, and she just knew exactly what to say, and I understood, and I just interpreted it in the way that I did, and I think that she liked the way that came across.
I mean, I liked the way it came across. I've only seen the clips that were on the website.
Oh, yeah.
Which I stress to any fan of Matt to definitely, all I did was Google Stay Then Go. And then you go to the website and they have 2 or 3 clips featuring him. And it was, I mean, it was probably one of the most unique experiences you've ever had, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it was wonderful. I mean, I can't say enough good things about it. It was just, yeah, it was fantastic. I'm very excited for people to see it.
Do you know when people will be able to see it?
Well, actually, I'm going to Minneapolis very soon, in a couple of weeks, for one of the first like public screenings of the film. So we're gonna start traveling around to a bunch of different festivals. I think I'm not exactly sure of the strategy, but it's gonna be, you know, in a lot of different places, and then after that, I think obviously as this kind of business goes, they're going to figure out what to do with it, or what, you know, who may distribute, or whether it'll be available on, you know, video on demand or whatever it might. I don't really know what will happen with it, but the process is beginning very soon. So
yay.
Yeah.
Well, while we're on the subject of film, I have to mention The Last of Robin Hood. Big stars you're working with. Susan Sarandon, Dakota Fanning, Kevin Kline. So did you know the story of Errol Flynn before you signed on to the project?
No, I didn't. I'd heard of Errol Flynn, but I didn't know anything about Errol Flynn, and I learned a huge amount in the build up to the project. And once I was on set with Kevin, I learned a huge amount from him. I mean, he was just, you know, just completely submerged, like immersed in this world of Errol, and knew everything about him, and we talk about him a hell of a lot. So I learned a lot about him, and he was a fascinating man.
It's crazy. I was looking at some of the stills from the movie, and also the photos that you guys took at TIFF when it premiered. And it seems like a great project. How do you fit into the story?
So I play Ronnie Shedlow. Ronnie was Errol Flynn's personal assistant, his right-hand man. And
so he kind of saw everything.
Yeah, he did. He really did. He was a huge fan of Errol, massive fan. Loved all his films, and was kind of just in awe of Errol Flynn. And one day he went to a hotel in LA. Ronnie's from LA. He went to a hotel where Errol was staying and shooting a film. And I think one evening or morning or something, when Errol was coming through the lobby, Ronnie was there with a book of memorabilia and pictures, and, you know, he went up to him and said, "Errol, will you sign the," you know, he was really excited to meet his hero.
Right.
And I think Errol said something. He saw the book, and he said something to him like, "God, you seem to know more about me than I do. Maybe you want a job. Do you want to be my assistant?
Work for me." Imagine if that was how things were nowadays.
God. Yeah, I know.
Oh,
I know.
Scary.
Yeah, very much so. Yeah, but that's what happened, and then obviously Ronnie being this, I think he was 16 or 17 at the time that happened. That must have been unbelievable for him to be offered that job, you know, after being in love with Errol as you know, as the movie star for so long, to then become so, you know, so close to him.
So he was similar in age to Dakota Fanning's character.
Yeah, very similar. He's I don't want to give anything away about the film, but he was very similar in age.
Well, in the description that I read online,
yeah,
Dakota Fanning is Errol Flynn's love interest of sorts, teen love interest, and I think that's where a lot of the source of conflict may come from.
Yeah.
In the film, so we'll have to see when that comes out.
Absolutely.
Where did you guys shoot it?
We shot in Atlanta.
How was that?
It was great. My mum grew up in Atlanta. She's from Detroit, grew up in Atlanta, and so my grandmother was there. So growing up, I went to Atlanta like maybe once a year.
Oh, so you were home.
Yeah, I knew it. Like it was very weird to be flying over there to shoot something. And I'd like to be familiar with the surroundings and to kind of know the city a little bit, not very well, but a little bit. And I love Atlanta. It's awesome. So yeah, it was cool.
Were you able to go to the Toronto premiere of the movie?
Yeah, of Robin Hood.
Yes.
Yeah. I went to Toronto.
That must have been a whirlwind, huh?
Oh my God, that weekend was crazy. It was crazy. It was so strange. I mean, I'd never been to a festival. That was my first festival, and it's a big one. It's like
congrats.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. It was a big festival to go to, and like the the actors there and the filmmakers and everyone who is there is just like the cream of the crop. Like really, the films that were premiering, like 12 Years a Slave and like all these, I mean, just amazing films were there, and ours was alongside them, and that was kind of an exciting thing to be there as part of that. At the same time as all of these phenomenal, craftsmen and women, it was amazing.
So speaking of the amazing people that you were with at TIFF, is there any specific actor that inspired you along the way? Somebody that you look up to?
In general? There are so many. I think it kind of goes, a lot of people would say, and I'm one of them, DayLewis, I think is just amazing. I've always loved. So
transformative.
Yeah, and just everything he does is like, he's just amazing. I don't know. I love DayLewis. Kevin actually did a huge amount to inspire me on set. Like we got on very well, and I think he appreciated and liked the fact that I was a young British actor who had done some theatre, and we talked a bit about Shakespeare. He actually caught me off guard. Like the first day we were getting to know each other, he asked me what Shakespeare I'd done, and I said that I was in 12th Night and I played Antonio, and he said, "Oh, Antonio," and then he started the scene like off the top of his head with I can't remember what the other character was, but just like expecting me to know all of Antonio's lines and remember them. And I wish I could have. That would have been amazing, kind of just be like, oh yeah, blah blah, and go into it. I couldn't remember. I think we adapted it when I did it, so it was a little bit different.
Right.
But like, yeah, I mean that kind of skill and like the knowledge to know just any kind of Shakespeare play, many Shakespeare plays, and just know scenes and know characters and that's amazing. Like to remember all of that. So yeah, I think spending time with him, and we had many discussions about acting and about his career, and he had a lot of questions for me, and he had a lot of kind of indirect advice. He would never sort of sit me down and say, you need to, this is what you should do. Like it was never, and I never really asked. I didn't want to be that guy who sort of, just asked for one specific bit of advice, because it was nice that we had a little over a month, I think, to just spend time together and to kind of get to know him on set. So I learned a huge amount from him.
That's great.
Yeah.
As far as a role that you have admired somebody else do, whether it be TV, film, have you ever watched something and thought, I just kind of want to place myself in this?
Yeah, I have. So often I do that. Like I'll go see films and, frequently, wonder if I could have done that or how I would have done that, and just kind of, I just saw the Grand Budapest Hotel.
Seeing it this weekend.
So good. So good. It's my favorite of his films.
Everyone is saying that it's the most Wes Anderson film ever.
Yeah, that kind of makes sense. It is symmetrical almost all of the time. Yeah, it's wonderful. I don't think there wasn't necessarily a role in that. Maybe when I'm older, what Jude Law did in that film, sort of that kind of thing. But yeah, that's tough. I watch so many things and kind of try and wonder if I could, transform into that character. But that's what's kind of cool about acting, and when people are cast and when people do what they do with their material, it's so unique, and you're never going to be able to do what they did, and nor should you. It's something that's special about it.
So today I tweeted your amazing fans.
Yeah.
And since I only have a few more minutes with you, I wanted to get in some fan questions because I told them to watch. So let's see. Since you already answered some of these questions.
Yeah, I try and answer a lot of
I know
them.
You're on it.
Yeah,
you're on the social media game. Okay, so @SayXK asked what your favorite part of the day on set is.
Depending on what set, sometimes, and how I feel. Lunchtime is a wonderful time on set, because I love food on set. It's amazing. You get just so much going on.
So if I'm ever looking for you, you'll be at Crafty.
I'll be at Crafty. No, yeah, no. My real is the very start of the day, when I'm kind of nervous about the day ahead, and you're really on edge, and that's what drives you, and I think gives you the energy to kind of push through the day.
Alexandra asked, "Are we going to see Matt on our screen anytime soon? I miss that bloody talented human being."
Oh, thank you. Yeah, well, these films, soon. I don't have a date.
I'm sure you'll let the fans know.
I'm going to let everyone know. Yeah, I'll keep you well in the loop. Yeah.
Kaylee wanted to know what your favorite way to procrastinate is. What's your favorite way of putting things off?
I have so many ways of doing that. My days are just like filled with me doing pointless errands, not real errands, like walking from the bedroom to the kitchen really slowly. And
How many steps did I just
How
take?
many steps? And then like pouring multiple glasses. I think drinking water, because then I end up like drinking far too much and having to pee
all day.
a ton.
Just more activities
So
to
yeah,
do.
probably but that's maybe a good one actually. Drinking too much water. I don't know.
Anna Beatrice wants to know if you have a lucky charm.
Yeah. Literally.
Ooh, okay.
I have one little lucky charm there.
Look at that.
Mm-hmm.
Special. Mm-hmm. So my final question to you, sir. Do you have any advice for somebody that wants to do what you do?
I think just persevere and constantly go for it, and know that if you just really believe in what you're doing and you know, enjoy everything you do, that's all you can do really. I think that it's a very long game. It's a marathon, not a sprint, and that's an expression I really like, because it's a strange career, and everyone's journey is entirely different. So I think just find something that works for you, and find like something local, and then see where that takes you, because you never know where it could, you know. And just stick to it, and just know that it might be a while, but you're gonna enjoy the whole process. Like, enjoy every part of the journey, not just the end game. You know, it's about every step.
Well, ladies and gents, I think that is some sound advice from our wise actor.
Thank you.
I want to thank Matt again for being here today. Where can the fans find you on social media?
On Twitter, I'm at Matt Kane UK. Instagram also at Matt Kane UK, and then I have a Facebook. Just Matt Kane on Facebook, and then there's like some fan Twitters as well. I think official Matt Kane fans is one of them as well, but I don't control that. But yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Well, once again, my name is Jillian Leff. You can find me on Twitter at Jillian Leff, on Instagram at Jilly Leff, or my website JillianLeff.com. Thanks for being here.
Thank you very
Appreciate
much.
it.
Yeah, no
Bye,
problem.
guys.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.
Thank you for watching AfterBuzz TV on YouTube. For more of your favorite after shows and interviews, subscribe to our channel here, and be sure to share your opinion on the episode in the comment section below here. We'd love to see what you guys are buzzing about. Thanks again. Buzz you later.